All right, let's take a look at 6 through 10 for our speed run. On an xy plane, a line is graphed with a slope of -4 and passes through the point 0, 7, which is the y-intercept. The equation y equals vx plus n represents the line where v and n are constants. What is the value of v? You're going to need to know the y equals mx plus b equation here, very well-known algebra equation. And in this case, we can see that v is in place of where the m usually is. So they're looking for the slope. So we can simply say v equals -4, and we're done. Move on. Number 7 says, what is an x-intercept for the graph of that expression on the xy plane? You have a couple options. You could simply go to Desmos and graph this, and you could look and see any of these 3 points would work, and you could just write down one of those coordinates and be done. 3, 0, and you're done. When they're asking for an actual x-intercept, we don't want to necessarily just write x equals 3. We want to write the intercept itself. So we could write that. We could also notice those intercepts are the opposites of each of those factors. So -2 would be one of the options. Okay. You could also write -10 as one of the options. Those would all be x-intercepts. Okay, moving on to 8. Triangles RST and DEF are congruent, and the vertices correspond to the order given. The measure of the angle S is 40 degrees, and the measure of the angle T is 25. What is the measure of angle E? I've already drawn these for you. Obviously, they usually would not be there. They told us that S was 40 degrees. Okay. And you'll notice here that E is actually in the exact same position as S. Might be helpful for you to draw that picture on your own when you do the test, or maybe you can simply look at the ordering here and notice that S and E are in the same spot, and therefore E is also 40 degrees. Number 9 says Julia purchased some cryptocurrency. The graph below shows the approximate value of her crypto in dollars as a function of the number of weeks that have been passed since her purchase. What information does the y-intercept, so that's what we're looking at specifically there, communicate in this situation? So we'll notice the y-intercept here is 300. So what does that communicate? Well, we'll notice we have weeks down here. And so at 0 weeks, that is the intercept. So this would be how much Julia is starting with. So we're going to look at our options here. You could read through those and you just notice that C says the estimated value of the currency at the time of purchase was $300. So C is the clear answer there since none of the other options give that explanation. And number 10, for the function f of x equals 1/4 x plus 8, what is the value of f of 12? Okay, what they're saying here is that basically x equals 12. So we could just plug that in and say 1/4 of 12 plus 8. Okay, 12 plus 8 is 20. What is 1/4 of 20? You could punch that in a calculator, or maybe that's something you can do in your head, but 1/4 times 20 is 5. So f of 12 equals 5. So there you go. C.